그래서 뭔데요? 중요한 취재거리가?
It's this!
This was the important story to cover that Tok brought last week.
바로 오늘이 한 태평양도서국 첫 정상회의가 열리는 날입니다.
PIF와 대한민국이 함께하는 상생의 파트너십을 추구하고자 합니다.
As the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war has shown us, regional and interregional cooperation is essential.
여러분, 저희가 드디어 이곳에 왔습니다.
Because of this, the Korea Pacific Island Summit Special Part 2 begins now.
Hello everyone! We're about to start part 2 of our special series on the Korea Pacific Islands Summit. But first, I want to share the information I learned about the history between Korea and the Pacific Islands. So, pay attention! Beginning with Tonga in 1970, Korea began establishing diplomatic relations with Pacific Island nations. In May 2023, on the occasion of the Korea-Pacific Islands Summit, Korea and Niue established diplomatic relations, thus forming ties with all 14 Pacific Island nations. In 1971, the Pacific Islands Forum, or PIF, a key political and economic policy organization, was established. It includes 14 Pacific Island nations, along with Australia, French Polynesia, New Caledonia, and New Zealand. Korea joined the PIF as a foreign dialogue partner in 1995 and has developed a close relationship with the PIF through the participation and engagement of high-level officials in meetings and dialogues. Since the establishment of the Korea and PIF Cooperation Fund in 2008, and with the continued growth of the fund, Korea has been providing regional development cooperation and capacity building support for the Pacific Island nations in various fields such as health, climate change, trade and tourism, and more. Since 2011, the Korea-Pacific Islands Foreign Ministers Meeting, a key forum aimed at deepening the strategic dialogue between Korea and the Pacific Island nations, has been held regularly. Through this meeting, the two sides discuss major agendas to increase cooperation in a variety of fields such as climate change, development cooperation, maritime fisheries, and people-to-people relations. And now, I'll tell you about the Korea-Pacific Islands Summit schedule and what other events were held on the sidelines.
이제 컨퍼런스장으로 이동을 하고 있어요. This is where the conference will be held today. The conference began with the opening remarks from the Minister of Oceans and Fisheries.
Let us unite our creative idea, constructive wisdom, and collective effort at the conference today.
And many high-level officials gave congratulatory remarks for the occasion.
The Korean government wishes to reaffirm its commitment to expanding cooperation with the Pacific Islands in the maritime and fisheries sectors and the environmental protection, as well as in the area of marine science and technology.
I believe our cooperation and through knowledge sharing and research, we can jointly find solutions that will support our collective efforts in protecting our ocean and sustainably developing our fisheries sector.
For a conference on strengthening marine fisheries cooperation between Korea and the Pacific Island countries to be held must signify the growing importance of this field. Also, during the event, Korea's Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries announced the Korea Ocean Economy Initiative, a vision for international cooperation in marine fisheries for sustainable development.
전 세계가 공유하는 해양, 이 폭에 기여할 첨단 기술, 미래를 선도할 인재를 세축으로 하는 동방은 성장 전략인 코리아 오션 이코노미 이니셔티브가 바로 그것입니다.
Watching the conference, I realized that the professor carried out a very interesting project.
태평양 도서국의 특성상 물 부족 심각합니다. 그래서 생각한 것이 바로 빗물입니다.
We can drink rainwater? Is that true? So, I decided to interview this professor.
저 보시고 얘기해 주시면 돼요. 먼저 오늘 여기 컨퍼런스는 어떻게 초청받아서 오셨는지.
태평양 도서국가에서 제일 필요한 게 물이니까 물을 확보하는 방법이 육지에서 확보하는 방법이랑 달라야 된다. 뭐냐면은 이 동네에는 많은 비가 오기 때문에 그 빗물을 잘 받아서 처리해서 마시면 최고의 음용수를 마실 수 있다라는 걸 좀 알려드리러 왔습니다.
On March 20th, 2019, Seoul National University's Rainwater Research Center began a rainwater harvesting pilot project in Vanuatu. The rainwater harvesting facility installed by Seoul National University's Rainwater Research Center uses rainwater collected from a roof that is around 200 square meters in area. The collected water passes through 4 rainwater tanks undergoing a natural settling process, while a secondary UV disinfection process makes it clean enough to drink. And in August 2019, the same facility was installed in a public health center in the Solomon Islands. Since then, Professor Han's facilities have also been installed in countries along the Mekong River which suffer from water shortages, such as Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam.
하늘에서 떨어지는 빗물을 잘만 봐서 쓰시면은 얼마든지 최고의 품질의 물을 마실 수 있습니다. 라는 걸 알려드렸습니다. 그랬더니 깜짝 놀라시죠.
교수님이 또 더 이렇게 추진하고 싶으신 계획이 있으신지 태평양 도서국이랑
지금 뭐 첨단 기술도 필요하고 또 기초 기술도 필요하거든요. 제가 하는 거는 기본적인 물 문제를 해결하기 위한 방법을 가르쳐주기 때문에 첨단 기술은 아닐 수 있으나 첨단 기술과 이와 같은 기본적인 기술을 같이 가게 되면 훨씬 더 시너지 효과를 얻을 수 있을까 생각합니다.
The professor set up a booth where you can try flower tea made from purified rainwater with a flower tea artisan.
빗물을 만드는 꽃차가 제일 맛이 있다는 걸 아시고 빗물 팬이 되셨습니다. 빗물에는 다른 게 들어가 있지 않기 때문에 오로지 순수한 꽃의 향기만 나오지 않겠는가.
너무 향이
실제 정수기나 이렇게 끓는 물은 우리가 세계 우림이 이렇게 안 나옵니다.
오, 신기하다. 이런 색깔은 전 처음 보는 것 같아요.
제가 물만 보실 뿐이에요.
아, 그러시구나. 너무 맛있어요.
사람들이
It tasted and smelled much stronger than usual teas I normally drink. While doing research, I found out something interesting. Korea's first deep-sea fishing vessel, the Jinamo, worked as a medium to connect Korea and the Pacific Ocean.
Jinamo was originally a 230-ton oceanographic research ship built in the U.S. in 1946. The Korean government bought it for $320,000, and the then president of Korea, Lee Seung-man, named it Jinamho, carrying the meaning, make money in the southern seas. The Jinamho left Busan harbor on June 29, 1957, and went on a test run in the Indian Ocean. Within 47 days of departure, the crew caught billfish and returned to Busan after 108 days. Afterwards, Jinamho left Busan harbor in 1958 and anchored in Samoa, a country in the South Pacific Ocean, marking the beginning of Korea's deep-sea fishing history. At the time, Jinamho was in operation for a year and 3 months and caught around 150 tons of tuna. Later, the foreign currency earned through deep-sea fishing in the 60s and 70s helped fuel Korea's economic growth. Since Jinamho's activities in the Pacific Ocean, it is still the main location for Korea's pelagic fishing vessels. According to Korea's Overseas Fisheries Association, as of the end of 2020, Korea has 21 fishing bases in major ports in 17 countries, 9 of which are located in the Pacific Ocean. Also, 150 of Korea's 210 deep-sea fishing vessels currently operate in the Pacific Ocean.
Wouldn't we be able to say that the maritime and fisheries sector, represented by the Jinnamho, played a role as a medium between Korea and the Pacific Island from that time on? In any case, it seems undeniable that the maritime and fisheries sector is a very important area of cooperation between Korea and the Pacific Islands. Since it is a conference on marine fisheries cooperation between Korea and the Pacific Island nations, we should also listen to the thoughts of representatives of Pacific Island nations, right? And I found the perfect interviewee for this. Could you tell us what kind of areas are we now cooperating?
When Korea became a dialogue partner of the Pacific Islands Forum, there was a cooperation fund that was set up. And so that fund is being used to support our Pacific Island countries at the regional level.
The Korea PIF Cooperation Fund was established in 2008 to promote exchanges and cooperation between Korea and the Pacific Islands, and to support socio-economic development projects in Pacific Island countries. Through the fund, Korea has contributed $1.5 million annually to the Pacific Islands. Since its establishment in 2008, the fund has contributed a cumulative $12.4 million through October 2022. Through this, Korea has supported the regional development and capacity building of Pacific Islands in a variety of areas, such as healthcare, climate change, countering IUU fishing, while promoting trade, tourism, and e-commerce. At the latest summit, Korea said that it will increase the Korea PIF Cooperation Fund and ODA for Pacific Islands for a sustainable partnership, and announced plans to offer customized development partnerships to individual countries.
So, in what areas do you want to see more cooperations between our two nations?
There are various areas that for sure we can collaborate on, particularly in the ocean and fisheries space. That's one big area we can look to Korea because of the advancement in technology. That is something we surely can learn from, and how we can look after our ocean and our resources, but also in supporting the development of this sector. You know, we are what we call the large ocean states. So we're surrounded by a large ocean with very little land area for some of our countries. So we would really welcome the expertise in Korea in helping us look after our resources, and more importantly, how to make use of the resources to take care of our people.
Through the interview with her, I was able to improve my understanding of cooperation between Korea and the Pacific Island nations. After a day of covering the event, we said goodbye to Busan. It is now time to return to Seoul.
안녕하세요. 저는 다시 서울로 돌아왔습니다. 정상회담이 끝난 거 아니냐고요? 정상회담이 끝났는데 왜 다시 나왔냐고요? 맞아요. 정상회담은 어제 마무리가 됐어요. 근데 아직 끝난 게 아닙니다. 또 중요한 이벤트가 남아있거든요. 오늘 이곳에서 한 태평양도서국 디지털 장관회의가 열려요. 이것도 마찬가지로 처음 열리는 거예요. 그러니까 처음이니만큼 의미가 클 것 같아서 제가 그 현장을 직접 또 취재해 보려고 여기 왔습니다. 그러면은 지금 바로 안으로 들어가 보도록 하겠습니다. 갈게요.
This is where the Korea Pacific Islands Digital Ministerial Conference will be held. Oh, the Ministry of Science and ICT is here as well. The opening ceremony has begun.
And at the second session, the country presentations are prepared by each head of delegations of each participating country.
During the conference, I had a chance to briefly interview the Minister of Science and ICT. I'm sure he must be excited since it is the first digital ministerial conference between Korea and the Pacific Island nations.
이번에 그 ICT 장관회의에서는 주로 어떤 내용들이 논의되었나요?
우리 회의의 주제가 그 디지털 공동 번영을 위한 연대입니다. 그래서 이제 우리가 가지고 있는 어떤 그 디지털 정책의 비전 또는 경험을 이제 공유를 하고 또 이제 그 디지털의 어떤 그 안정성, 그리고 뭐 품질이나 연결성 측면에서 태평양 그 지역의 그 각 국가들이 어떻게 이제 디지털을 혁신하고 또 국제 협력을 해 나갈 것인가 이런 거를 이제 논의했다는 측면에서 뭐 중요하다 이렇게 볼 수 있습니다.
네, 제가 이렇게 몇 분 인터뷰도 하고 그랬는데 한국의 그 과학기술이나 디지털 관련 분야를 굉장히 다들 높이 평가하고 있더라고요. 근데 이제 앞으로 이제 한국이랑 태평양도서국 사이에 과학기술, 뭐 디지털 분야에서 좀 어떻게 구체적으로 협력을 해나가실 계획이 있으신지.
아무래도 이제 그 태평양 도서 국가들은 그 섬나라라는 특징 때문에 소위 말해서 이제 그 교고 지역이고 거기에 사시는 분들이 어떻게 디지털 서비스에 이렇게 쉽게 접근할 수 있는가 하는 과제가 있고요. 또 어떻게 보면 이제 기후 변화 때문에 재해 재난들이 생기는데 거기에 어떻게 대응해야 하는가 하는 과제가 있습니다. 그래서 그런 측면에서 이제 디지털 기술이 이들 그 과제들을 어떻게 이제 해결하는가, 어떤 영향을 주는가 관점에서 우리가 그 디지털 기술의 가능성에 대해서 주목할 그 필요가 있다 이렇게 생각하고요. 또 다행히 한국은 디지털 그 선도 국가로서 노하우와 경험을 그분들하고 또 공유를 하고 한편으로 이제 국제 기구에서 한국이 이렇게 운영하고 있는 디지털 지원 프로그램이 있는데 이들 국가들이 그 프로그램에 이제 들어올 수 있도록 여러 가지 다양한 그 기회를 확대해 나가는 게 필요하다 이렇게 생각을 합니다.
Watching the conference, I wondered what kind of cooperation Korea and the Pacific Island nations have had in the digital field so far.
There's been some initiative in the past. Korea has assisted Tonga in the past with the telecommunication. So we're looking forward for more cooperation and opportunities to have some more assistance from Korea. We have a vast majority of ocean and a lot of islands to manage. So infrastructure is very important. And also we're looking at the digital transformation approach. There's a lot of components there that might require advanced technologies that Korea is already advanced in. And it's good to learn from the leading countries such as Republic of Korea.
Then, what kind of cooperation does the Pacific Island nations specifically want in the digital sector? I became curious while watching the conference, so I decided to interview some ministers.
In terms of ICT, I think we need to create more connectivity, especially for those of our people at the outer islands. In Tonga, in our country, Tonga, it consists of about 136 islands, and connectivity is very important for us. So, being in this meeting and establishing a connection with South Korea is very important. Because we need more assistance, technical advice, and we need the know-how from South Korea to assist us. For a very small country, for us, like Tonga, we need those kind of assistance.
Nice to meet you. My name is...
The next minister we'll meet is...
So in regards to digital technology or technology as a whole, in which areas do you want to cooperate with Korea in the future?
In many areas. We are still progressing in our digital technology, and we have put in all the important legislations in place. And there's a whole lot of issues that we want Korea to actually assist us. And I have just finished from the bilateral with my counterpart minister. And one of the very important issues is about training, about capacity building. Of course, support in equipments, especially in cybersecurity area, in the cyberspace. We also would like, I have mentioned that to my counterpart minister, that we are very keen on some help from South Korea in terms of capacity building, like training, and of course equipping us with the necessary equipments and the know-how and how to do these things, especially with Korea being the leader in technology in the world today.
Digital cooperation between Korea and the Pacific Island nations. We can look forward to it in the future.
Hey, I am here. Nuri, wake up. Hey.
토독님, 저 지금 자는 거 아니라 생각하는 거거든요? 아니, 근데 꼭 그렇게 발로 사람을 깨워야겠어요?
Are you done with editing?
촬영 갔다 온 것들은 다 끝났는데 마무리를 어떻게 해야 될지 고민이에요.
The ending. Do you need something to close the special episode?
맞아요. 어떻게 마무리를 짓는 게 좋을까요?
What about interviewing the ambassador of...
조 대사님이요?
Yes. I think it'll be the perfect way to wrap up this series.
그렇네. 왜 그 생각을 못했지? 오, 역시 토독님. 감사해요.
You're welcome.
The person we are going to interview today is the ambassador of the Marshall Islands.
There are a total of 14 countries in the Pacific Islands. On May 29, with the establishment of diplomatic ties with Niue, South Korea established diplomatic relations with all 14 countries. However, not all of these 14 countries have embassies in South Korea. Only 2 countries have permanent embassies in Seoul, the Marshall Islands and Papua New Guinea. However, the ambassadorial position in Papua New Guinea is currently vacant. So, the ambassador of the Marshall Islands is the only ambassador of the Pacific Island nations currently based in South Korea. That should be reason enough to interview him, right?
How do you evaluate the outcome of the summit?
I think the outcome of the summit is a good starting point on strengthening the relationship between people of Korea and the people of the Pacific. I think a lot of efforts were put into a balanced outcome that recognizes both what the government of Korea wants to do in the future with the Pacific countries and vice versa, what the Pacific people want to do in terms of building on this partnership.
I wanted to ask you about your government's stance on Japan's releasing Fukushima water into the sea, because it is very heatedly debated topic among Korean public right now. So what is your government's stance on this, and were there any talks regarding this during that summit?
At the margins of the summit, there were a number of conversations going on, which we welcome. My country's position on this is very, very specific. If there is to be any release of wastewater, it needs to be 100% safe, not 99% safe. It's got to be 100% safe. And I say this because the Marshall Islands itself has its own history with nuclear waste, one of which we are still suffering from right now. One that we feel should not happen to any human being. So we have made very strong position that the Marshall Islands wish that if there is to be waste, it needs to be 100% safe. And we need to understand how we got to that 100% number. And we will continue to put our position forward.
So yesterday, Korea won a seat on UN Security Council for 2024 to 2025. So do you expect more cooperation on multilateral arena with this?
I would hope so. And I think given all indication of willingness, I believe we will get more multilateral engagement, particularly on the global stage with security. We want to, and we are very happy that Korea won the Security Council seat. Korea understands too well what the conflicts will result in. And I think they deserve to have their voice and the voices, represent the voices of many that have been at the crossfire of conflicts. But there are other emerging security needs. And we want to be sure that human security, particularly those that will be impacted, so over 3 billion people around the world that continue to be impacted from changes to the climate. I think those are security issues of concern. And we hope that Korea's term in the Security Council will help push for a more varied, a more specific commitment from members of the Security Council to address the human security need impacting from climate change.
While covering the Korea Pacific Island Summit over the past week, I learned a lot about the Pacific Island nations. And to solve many problems that lie ahead of us, I realized again that cooperation with other countries and regions is essential. With this summit, I hope that Korea and the Pacific Island nations will become partners that can trust each other.
I'm very happy to hear that. 톡톡님! 톡톡님! 안 오세요? 안 오세요?
지금 회의장으로 들어왔습니다.
한 번만 더 하고. 여러분, 안녕하세요.